Oh, yeah, that means that Midway Radio is back. And I'm not going to be doing all that hollering and stuff that I usually do because I have the flu. So there. It's Carlos. Hello. Welcome. With us this week. The flu slapped me with some maturity.
Sean Doe's is sick too, and you fuckers are 3,000 miles away from each other.
Oh, damn.
We're soul brothers, though. Like, what happens? That's my little brother, dude. Relax. Let me get in. Go ahead and hey, yo, Kid Jungle's here.
Go anywhere with this.
Yeah. Whatever. You know that's fake because no one ever really applauses for me like that.
We do. We have a live studio audience.
I'm just kidding.
Don't worry. Tell some jokes. We got a laugh track too.
Oh yeah, that's another one that we're gonna have to figure out. Laugh track, because sometimes you guys just don't get my funny, and I don't appreciate you guys just staring at me all uncomfortable.
Crickets. Yeah.
Like what?
Oh, I was okay. Here we go. All right, Kid Jungle's here, y'all, and this is like I said, it's Midway Radio. Midway Radio is like Star Wars, but instead of Wookiees, we have DJs. DJs like DJ Sean Doe.
What up, everybody?
There we go.
Oh, and that dude right there, Bangs God himself.
It's looking pretty like he just got his hair full of product.
Yeah. Hey, he's wearing the right t-shirt too, because that hair is punishing. The punishing DJ Risky Business.
I bet you Risky Business got a Flowbee somewhere.
Oh.
Brother, let me tell you, if I had access to a Flowbee, I would use that motherfucker.
I know you would. Looks like it. Bangs be cut all even and shit. Like
the bangs God.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
That's the one where they attach it to the vacuum cleaner, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yo, that's
Hey, you remember when that used to snatch people's hair out from the roots and everybody'd be like bleeding out their skull?
Oh, the Flowbee did that?
Hey, yeah, I bet you can find it like if you go to like Ford City Mall and you go in that one store that's like as seen on TV and you find them like all the old recall ones.
Used but nice.
Yeah. Used but nice.
And nice with a Y, NYCE.
Right.
Nice.
Hey, so we don't really have many updates as far as the project goes, except for the fact that our fearless director has a computer whose video card went out. Yeah, so that happens.
Yeah, that's life. It happens. We'll get through it. We're already in the process of doing
praying
it.
hand emojis. Give it up. I mean, people are giving away emojis like it means something, so I figure they can at least do that and share. Midway
hopes and dreams, or what is it? Hopes and promises, or what fixes everything, huh?
Right.
Yeah. So
they should have voted Pedro for president because he was going to make all our hopes and dreams come true. Vote for me, and all your hopes and dreams will come true. And sign me up.
That's it. That's all you need. Yeah, I'm not going to be happy until they start playing. Like, you know, when they say, hey, this is the president, and then the president goes out there dancing with their significant other. Not until they play a merengue, salsa, something like that. Right. Not until they're going to be like, Mr. President, whether it's a guy or a girl, I don't even give a damn. Mr. President Sanchez, and then Suavemente comes on. Oh, that's when we're gonna be the U.S. of MFA.
What about we get one, since we have Kid Jungle on? What if we get a president who comes out to dance to the drummer's beat and he starts breaking?
Oh,
I think Obama could have did that though. Like on the real, like he looked like he could. He was hip hop. He just
like the bongo band Apache comes on and.
Oh, you ever seen that episode where he was dancing on the Ellen show?
No.
Yeah,
No.
It wasn't good. It was.
Oh, that's
no. He's too. Obama's too busy reading books and like being deep. He's too deep.
Hey, black people, Obama couldn't do everything.
Right. Right.
Michelle,
I'm not saying he couldn't cut a rug. I'm not saying you'd ever see his ass doing a caterpillar.
Yeah.
I think Michelle can dance. I think she can do about anything.
She can get
Yeah.
that.
I bet you out of those two, I bet you she can pop and lock her ass off.
Yeah.
I would say so.
I bet my money on that.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to get into it with our guest, and just kind of obviously welcome Kid Jungle, and since we're on the subject of dance, tell people a little bit about yourself and some of the crews that you are associated with, because you are associated with several infamous Chicago crews, and on top of that, one of the other cool things is, while you've been based here for many years, I think it's super dope that you also represent Rockford, which I believe is your hometown, correct?
Absolutely.
Boy, hold up. I'm showing you guys. This is my grandmother's house. This is my grandmother's house in Rockford. It does not exist anymore.
Oh, which side of town? What street is that on?
This is on, I believe it was Acorn, like right off of School Street and what's the other one? That's the other one that I always forget. Yeah, dude, I spent some time in Rockford.
Yes. It's almost like a little mini Chicago, because you got your South Side, where I resided here at that time was mostly not just Latinos but majority Mexicans.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of Lao people on the South Side.
South Side, yeah.
You got the West Side. You got the river that cuts the town in half. You know,
right.
Like the low income areas on the West Side, and then you got the East Side where it's it's kind of like the nicer suburbia type area here. So it's a little bit, almost a little set up like Chicago here.
Sure.
Needless to say, I was from the West Side. Fairgrounds. Hey, shout out to Fairgrounds Projects.
There you go.
Gang banging on Rockford.
Rockford was crazy back in the day.
Hell yeah, dude.
It was crazy.
Well, Rockford may have been worse than Chicago, because Rockford always had that little brother syndrome when it came to Chicago. So if Chicago had violence, Rockford wanted to be more violent.
Right.
Yes.
They had something to prove.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Oh, it was crazy because you would get like transplants from Chicago that moved to Rockford to get away from the city, but they would bring that mentality to them. This
block is gonna be folks. Right?
It was crazy.
Bring that right down. Yeah.
I remember being, and we can get back to Kid Jungle, but just like whenever I geek out on Rockford because it was interesting. But I remember being a kid and they had a dude on the news and they said, "So you were getting G'd into this gang?" He's like, "Yeah." Well, what happened? Well, they asked me to kill my mother, and I ain't killing my mother for no damn body. I remember that as if it happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
They told this man to kill his mother.
Yeah, it's not every day you hear something like that, and some people would actually do it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. 70s in the Rockford. Check that shit out.
That's nuts.
So it's nice to see that you survived. How'd that happen?
Well, when I was when I turned 16, I got my license. It was just like by Rockford, like I headed straight to the city. just to the cities. You know what I'm saying? So like, I would come to Chicago a lot, and it started actually with like the rave scene. You know, I went to my first rave in Rockford, and I was like at 15, and I was like, what? I was like, what the hell kind of party is this? Everybody's like on something, or it looks like they're on something. But the thing is that the party would go till like 5 in the morning, and it was like all ages. I mean, they never carded. Half those things were like illegal at that time anyway. You know, so I met some people, and we started going out to a bunch of raves in Chicago, Milwaukee, Madison. We took road trips out to Ohio, and one of the dopest times is actually during some of the raves. You know, like that's where I've seen like Sugar Hill Gang for the first time. And
damn,
I ended up going to gravitating towards like the drum and bass scene. And during that time in the 90s, they would really associate like the drum and bass scene and the hip hop scene together. So you know how raves, they would have like different rooms, right? Dedicated to different music at that time. So like one room would be like drum and bass room. The other room was like the hip hop room. And that was the first time I seen like some cats from like Phase 2, you know, and some of the other well-known crews here. And I was just blown away by them. And these guys are doing things I've never seen, even in like Beach Street and stuff like that. You know, like it was like their own, this was like Chicago style breaking that I was first time exposed to. And I was like, holy shit, these guys are on the next level. So I met up with these guys, and what actually got me into the Chicago scene officially was there was a b-boy in Rockford that moved from San Diego. His name was CJ, and he was part of Floor King San Diego. So he came to Rockford and somehow got down with Drop Squad. So Drop Squad was like a Chicago / suburban crew that had members from just all over, and he happened to be one of them. So he would always ask him, he's like, yo, you want to come to Chicago to practice? So we would drive like almost 2 hours basically during rush hour to go to the Brickyard to go practice in Reese Park at the field house. And that's when I seen these guys again. I was like, oh, damn, I seen these guys again. Bunch of guys from Phase 2, Drop Squad. There was this guy, Quick Step. He was part of Full Circle, New York. And this guy was like the god of breaking at that time, because he obviously was older. He was like the elder of all of us. And, you know, once again, this guy was just doing power moves that were just unrealistic, you know, like in breaking. So like you can tell in breaking how good someone's technique is when you don't hear them break.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you could tell like they don't have their technique down, you can hear them smacking their knees on the ground. You know, their legs are smacking the ground, their shoulders, their head. You hear that bump on the ground when they're doing power. This guy was just clean as a whistle.
Wow.
No, you wouldn't hear anything. You would just kind of felt the breeze from like, you know, all the power moves he was doing.
From the badassery.
Yes. And yeah, so once I met up with them, I had a couple cats from Rockford too. They were all MCs. You know, once again, it was the 90s, so we did all the elements. You know, we freestyled. You know, there was a train station downtown, South Side off Main Street. We
Clock Tower Inn.
That doesn't exist anymore. That's crazy.
I know, they knocked that bad boy down.
Yeah, it's gone. Just empty lot. You know. But you know, they used to have a train yard down there. We used to go down there and just like bomb these trains. You know, we didn't know what we were doing. We just emulated what we seen during Beach Street that time. You know, so we wanted to do that too. You know, and we were dummies about it. We had like cameras rolling, lights going on. You know what I'm saying? Like doing shout outs and shit like that.
Nobody's face covered.
Yeah, nobody's face is covered. Like, thank God we never got caught.
He starts yelling, 533 North Main, Rockford. Boy.
Catch the link, no. So like, yeah, so these guys, we would all get together. We were like the hip hop heads of Rockford. So at that time, our elder officially was DJ Busy One. That time he was part of a TFD crew. And he was, we would always go visit him, watch him scratch, watch him do his thing. He competed in a couple of DMC battles here in the city, and we would roll up with him to the city, and of course, there's nowhere near as many hip hop events as there are now. They were really scarce. Maybe it was like once, twice a quarter. And so like everybody went. So we were breaking during DJ battles, like while they're battling, we're breaking. We would go to record shops when they have open house. I'm trying to remember that record shop that was on Fullerton. I think it was called the Lab, but it was in I think it was called the Lab. They weren't open that long, but I remember they used to have DJ battles and like just open turntables there. Sometimes we would drive all the way up there just to go and break. And so when I started networking with a lot of people there, and I started coming out more, and then like there's like 2 events that really did it for me, and I was just like, man, I love Chicago for this. The first one was the Lowrider show in Villa Park at the Odeum. It's when they had a DJ battle. Rocksteady crew came down.
Wow.
Came down. So like I was seeing all these guys live. I was like, damn, that's Crazy Legs right there. He was hosting it right there and shit. And I was like 16 at the time. So I'm just blown away, like starstruck by all this stuff. So that was a big, huge event for me. That was like a milestone. The other one was Skill Matrix, which happened over at the Rainbow Rink. That was like
Rainbow.
To me, that was like how B Street was walking in the Roxy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you go in there, B-boys everywhere, breaking. And that's when like at that time they was hosted by the New York City Breakers. So like we seen like not only did I see Rocksteady, but I also got to see the New York City Breakers. You know what I'm saying? Those are the 2 crews that battled in B Street.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was just blown away by all this, and ever since then, I was like, I love Chicago. Been going ever since.
So, did you just decide to move here? Like, were you like, I'm coming to live in Chicago when I get the chance after that?
No doubt, man. After that, I was just like, man, I can't do this Rockford stuff, man. The stuff that I was seeing in Rockford at such a young age was just too much, man. I would never want my kid to be able to see the stuff that I seen at 15 and 16.
That's crazy how you could move from that place and come to this place when we're all here like, yo, I don't think I would want to raise kids in Chicago. Or
Sean, when I was a kid, I saw some dude going upside his lady's head, just like straight up. It was a brawl, and her son ran and got the stop sign. How the hell the stop sign was just laying on the ground? I don't know. But he ran up with the pole and everything and slapped the brakes off this dude.
That's dope. That's dope. I fucks with that. Like
you see some things in Rockford. Like, I tease about Rockford, but man, I've seen some things.
Yeah. In the 90s, you definitely seen some things, man. Like I had friends that just, they hustled, they slang. It was part of the family too, uncles, mothers, dads, all in the industry, seeing that stuff at a young age, guys cutting bricks and stuff like that. Just prostitution was huge in Rockford. How
big is Rockford?
It's a big city.
I think like the third or fourth,
the second biggest.
No, I think it's officially like the third or fourth biggest city.
Chicago, Joliet. It's like Chicago, Joliet, and then Rockford and Aurora are kind of right there next to each other.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know Naperville, how far that.
Population of 147,000. Yeah. Anyway,
looks like Carlos is working on the Rockford documentary.
Yeah, the Rockford File.
Man, if I started down that path,
I'm just saying.
If I started down that path,
people
would think it was science fiction.
It's hood props, like
people would think it was science fiction.
Yeah, no, it really was. It really was. So I mean, like once again, like I just had friends that I grew up with that got into all this bad, you know, like that path, you know.
Yeah.
Started stealing cars, stealing radios, gang banging. You know, is when West Coast music was really huge, so everybody was trying to be Tupac at that time. You know, and it was just, you know, like we said earlier, it's just like a lot of people sitting in the middle of nowhere trying to be something.
Trying to hold on, especially if they're trying to emulate on TV and stuff like that.
Type of identity that they were trying to hang on to, and music, you know, and it was just lost. You know, there was really nothing to do for youth out there. You know, so we gravitated towards what made us resonated with us, you know. And back then, like I said, gangbanging was huge among a lot of people. And, you know, I'm watching my guys that I grew up with. We were playing Nintendo. Next thing you know, we're 16. They're like, yeah, we're forming a gang. You want to be down? And I'm just like, nah, I'm not. You know, I'm down with you guys, but I'm not down with the whole gangbanging thing, you know.
Yeah.
And it even got racial, you know, like you would have like on the north side, way north, like McChesney Park, Loves Park, you know, you would get a bunch of rednecks who would make their own gang.
Yeah.
You know, and they would go around fighting other races and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a city with all these young people with all this energy and nowhere to go with it. Right. So then what they do is, and this happens all the time, you go, like we used to back in the day, we would go to an arcade. My boy got punched in the face. Oh, okay. So then you're going to go over here. They got their crew. You got their crew, and everybody's got a crew. Now everybody's like fighting. But you have like, there's not the outlet like we had in Chicago, but we still have all the same ammunition. The temper, the guns, the drugs, the everything. And it's just an explosive place. And if you're not careful, you get swept up.
Yeah. So, you know, Rockford's smaller than Chicago. So it's not like there was just pockets here and there. You know, it was everywhere. You know, everywhere. North side, west side, south side, it was everywhere, you know.
Right.
So do you think that pushed you towards the culture?
I almost want to say yes, you know, because, you know, I'm a big believer everything happens for a reason, right?
Sure.
So, like, the big reason what really pushed me towards the culture and away from that was, you know, the fact that I told these guys that I didn't want to be down with them. That I love breaking. Like, that's my thing. You know, breaking was made me who I am. You know, like I started hanging around another crew where that's all we did. We were known as the B-Boys. Every time there was a party, we'd roll up. They were like, oh, the B-Boys are here. The B-Boys are here. You know, so like that to me made me shine. And so the guys I was hanging out with, you know, they thought that it was me trying to join another gang. And they weren't really having that. So we ended up butting heads, and you know, long story short, it was kind of like we got into the situation where I ended up getting set up. I got set up, ended up getting framed for something else that somebody else did. And a week later, these same guys got into it with another gang. So it was like, you know, they got into it with, like, you know, even Rockford has Latin Kings out there.
Yeah.
You know, they got into like the Latin Kings. And for some reason, these guys hated me so much that they associated me with those guys. And one of their homies got put in a coma.
Ooh.
And so they told the entire community that like it was me, that I did it.
That's crazy.
It was crazy. So check this out. This was the same night that I went to my first rave.
Damn.
No, the second night. The second night I went to a rave. Second night I went to a rave. And it's so funny. So it's like that whole day, from that day to the next day, was like a huge trip because it was the first time I heard drum and bass. First time and only time that I ever did acid.
Yeah.
Stayed up 24 hours. Went home to my parents' house. Then had 2 detectives knock on my door and saying, "We need to take you downtown."
Wow.
And they were trying to accuse me of attempted murder.
Yeah.
Because this guy ended up in a coma. So after that, I was just like, man, I can't live like this.
Be here, yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, like I can't live this lifestyle, you know. So that point on, I rejected that whole like thug life, wannabes, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I used to wear a lot of like Dickie outfits and Ben Davis outfits, hung those all up, boxed them away, you know. And I started heading out to the city. I was like, I need new friends.
Yeah,
sounds like that's grown folk talk right there, boy.
Hey, look, part of the narrative of this film is definitely delving into the idea of how hip hop saved a lot of people's lives in Chicago, how important it was to give people an outlet to stay away from the trappings of what's in our neighborhoods.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got really heavy into hip hop, you know, like I evolved from like going to raves to going to hip hop events only. And that's when like Zulu Nation was huge. You know what I'm saying? So they would always preach the whole peace, love, unity, having fun, you know, and being conscious and, you know, elevation of the mind and stuff like that.
Right.
So like, I really took that to heart, you know, and then after that, I was just like, you know, I can't live this knucklehead lifestyle and I want to better myself as a person, you know, and I started taking more responsibility of myself and I stopped being like this reckless teenager. You know, and you know, and then I was thinking about it too. I'm like, you know, here's my parents who are refugees from the Vietnam War, and they go through all this stuff to bring us to America, and here I am fucking it up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
No, but you righted that ship up pretty. You know, you righted the ship in a pretty fast and efficient way. and
something that he's not really touching on right now either is like, even if like if your friends get wrapped up in it, then a lot of times, even if you don't want to be in that lifestyle, you still get wrapped up in it because those are all your boys. Those are your friends. And the pressure that happens. And I mean, this happened to me both in Rockford and Chicago, where you're just walking around and someone sees you in the wrong neighborhood just because you like to play basketball. And now all of a sudden everybody want to beat your ass and take your wallet and whatever the hell it is, And all I did was play basketball.
Yeah, it's true. It was a situation where you hang around the wrong people, you get sucked into it, you know?
Well, I think you're hanging around the right people now, and you got crews like Renegade the Funk and, you know, all the breaking crews that you're a part of, and what you do, and you spend a lot of time and energy putting it in the right place. And, you know, one of the most special things I think that happen each year is something that you're a part of, is the Battle for the Eagle, and you see such hip hop presented in a family atmosphere like that. It's second to none, and it's super special.
Oh yeah, man, that's a great feeling, man. You know, just, you know, like one thing, you know, I'm gonna just backtrack a little bit. You know,
go ahead.
I had 3 of my homies like 4 of my homies just really go down that rabbit hole of that lifestyle, and that was enough for me. I had two that were shot, one was deported, and my guy that was a breaker, you would think that getting into hip hop would save you. He came to Rockford and went the opposite direction. You know, this dude ended up becoming a vice lord and started selling rocks, you know, and literally became a pimp. So here I am, 16-year-old, going to visit him, and I'm watching this guy pimping out 2 girls and stuff like that, and getting into car chases with this guy, just like not even knowing what's going on. You know, like I remember this time, right? I gotta. He used to call me collect from jail a bunch of times. Crazy.
Look at Sean is holding his face. Sean, if me and Kid Jungle sat here and went story for story, you would not believe us.
I'm telling you.
You know what's crazy is that you're talking about it, and I can. Like, the reason why I can is because, like, I lived in Chicago all my life. I lived on the West Side. I was born on the West Side. I, you know, spent a lot of my life on the South Side. So I know how it is to move through, you know, through the sides.
Right.
When I left Chicago to go to college, I went to Alabama and was like, there's nothing down here. Like, there's no gangs down here. Yo, bro, when I got to Alabama, I was like, there's no like there's no Folks, no Stones, no Latin Kings, but people know how to create their own gangs.
Oh yeah, they do.
And that shit is hard as fuck where they are. So I learned, and I think was it an HBO special or a Showtime special called Banging in Little Rock? When Banging in Little Rock came out, I was like, I'm not fucking with you guys. You guys on some other shit. So yes, I do believe Rockford can be hard as fuck, and I will props. I will stay the fuck away, and y'all can have it.
Yeah,
Carlos, get on that documentary. Carlos, Kid Jungle documentary is going down.
I'm in.
2020. I'm calling it.
Rockford got rocks.
I got a film crew.
Rockford got rocks. Oh shit.
Rockford got rocks.
Oh, it's crazy. Like I said, you know, like they were my friends at that time. I was always the guy that was clean, that had a clean record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So guess what I was stuck doing? Making deliveries, bailing people out of jail.
Yeah, cleaning up all your friends' messes.
You were the cleanup guy.
Yeah. Pretty much. But you know, like I said, I'm so glad I left. You know, like I had an opportunity to leave. You know, I got into the restaurant business, became a chef, got an offer to go work in Tinley Park for $1,000 more a month. I was like, peace, no questions asked, gone. You know, and then from there I moved up to Edgewater. You know, so Edgewater was like the first neighborhood I moved in.
Okay,
that's where I was born.
That's what
Carlos. Just tracing your steps, right?
I really want to go deep because I want to see how many people we know from like everywhere. Because I bet you we've crossed paths a few times. We probably know some people.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I'm good with faces too. Names may take a while, you know, but yeah. I mean, we probably have. It's such a small town, you know. And, you know, like rest in peace, my guy. You know, Flacco Plex One. He was like my homie at that time. You know, he had passed away in 2006, and you know that changed my life also. After that, I took on this like oath to myself to start teaching youth. You know, and start teaching breaking classes and mentoring, you know, and started working with like Kumba Links, you know, and After School Matters. And, you know, God bless my homie Brave Monk, you know what I'm saying? He like put me on that path. And, you know,
he's a monster too.
Yeah, he was the brother, man, at that time, you know, and he was another chapter in my life. You know, my life is crazy because it's like, not that it's crazy, but it's like, every 5 years was like a chapter.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like every 5 years.
And you got a new one coming now.
Yeah. I'm about to hit the 4-0 too. So you know, it's still going, man. I'm still happy that I'm still able to dance, still break, you know, but I mean, I'm not able to do all this crazy shit that you see now. Those kids are like 16, no job type stuff.
Yeah, don't let that keep you back. So I went to ILM to visit Doug Imp, and he was out there, and he was DJing a party that they were having out there, and I walked up to his turntables. I was like, "Yo, Doug, so if any of these kids like walks up and starts talking trash, talk about you can't dance no more because you're old, you think you can get them?" He goes, "Yeah, I can get them. I'll get them." He goes, "I might not be able to walk too good tomorrow, but I'll get them."
Nice. Big ups, Doug Infinite.
That's what's up.
That's great. Hey, you know, it's funny, like, with the B-boys and the young kids coming up now, you're talking about the young kids. I'm amazed at seeing kids like Nonstop and embracing the culture at such a young age and keeping young kids involved, because that can sometimes tend to be a problem with certain art forms, because everybody wants to jump on whatever's hot and whatever the new thing is and just kind of leave things to die. And you guys have done a great job of preserving that part of the dance culture in hip hop, specifically with you know, and you guys are mentoring the kids the right way, and I just it's dope. Not Little Nonstop's so dope to watch, and it's cool watching him grow up.
It's always good to see that guy, because he's like a beam of light. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's always happy. He's always in a good mood. You know, like he's not one of those, like, well, I don't know if he's like a bratty kid or not. He don't seem like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he always comes and says hi, and what I love about him is that he'll battle everybody. He'll just call everybody out and battle them. You don't care who you are or what age and stuff like that.
Right.
He'll battle you with a smile. He'll battle you with a smile.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like it's serious, but it's just like, dang, you can't get turned out by a kid. You know what I'm saying?
I was playing basketball against some young kids the other day at the gym, and I told them, I said, look,
hey, you want to go back to the part where you were talking about the bones and knees hitting the floor? Right.
Listen, we're playing, and I go to this kid. I said, look, if you cross me over and beat me, you're supposed to. You're twice as young as me. You should.
Right.
If I cross you over and beat you, you're a sucker.
Back to the lab.
Guess what? I crossed them over and took them.
Oh, look at you. Way to get your brag in, kid. Yeah, boy.
There you go. On the documentary, too. Put his name out there, too. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, young kid. Twice as young as me, and he's out there talking shit. And then they were talking shit, and I said, look,
bones over here.
You're supposed to beat me.
That's
the same way with the young kids, with young kids dancing, right?
I mean, that's just hip hop in general, you know. Like when I teach students, right, I always tell them this. I was like, okay, so here's the deal: you're gonna get to a point where you get really arrogant and you get really cocky, which is normal. It's normal in hip hop to do that,
right?
I mean, that's part of the game. It should be,
right? You know, because it's always about outdoing everybody, right? Who's the freshest MC? Who's the freshest breaker? Who gets up the most? You know what I'm saying? And I would always tell them, like, be careful about that, because there's still a lot to learn, you know, because I've taught a lot of people, and, you know, it's almost the same. They get to a point where they don't want to take any more lessons. They think they're good at what they're doing. And I was like, all right, well, go ahead, you know, but this is when you need to go out there and get smoked a couple times.
Yeah.
And
put you back up.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we'll go a couple rounds, you know, I feel a guy right now that I started teaching back in 2006 that he still tries to battle me. Still to this day. Still gets smoked.
You know, you got to tell these kids the only thing you need to know, the only thing you need to know is that you don't know shit.
That's it.
Go back to
and you can continue to learn, because I mean, kid, how many? you I'm sure you're, as a teacher and as a mentor, you're learning every day still, right? I'm assuming.
Man, absolutely, man. I learn from these kids. You know, there's some students of mine that they make up some moves. I'm just like, damn, I didn't teach you that, but damn, that looks fresh. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, if you don't use that, I'm on, you know, I'm gonna borrow. I'll flip it, you know, but
does it blow your mind, any one of you guys? Like when up until the point that someone does that move, like literally no one could ever do that move. And then right when someone does it, it's like everybody and their mama can do it now.
Yeah, it always happens. You know,
whether it be, you know, crossing someone over on a basketball court. You see, I'm trying to bring it back to you, Risky, because I like that story. But no, it's weird. Like no one could really dunk until someone dunked, and then no one can jump from the free throw line until Dr. J did it. Then Michael did it. Now everybody and their mama, they got like 5 feet people jumping from the fucking free throw line now. And I'm assuming I've seen it on like dance videos and actually being there and watching people break dance and stuff. People have a move and all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, wow, that's fresh. Now all of a sudden everybody could do it when it was kind of unattainable.
Well, the worst thing I see is when I see some of my shorties do a move that they invented. Whether it's been invented before or not, it's the first time I've seen it.
Right.
But then years later, I happened to see an older breaker do the same move, and I was like, hold up, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Cheater.
You know, everything's on YouTube now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So everybody peeps it out.
Who were the dancers that inspired you, kid?
A lot of Rocksteady Crew, you know. Rocksteady Crew had a lot of tapes back in the 90s, you know, the B-Boy Summit, Rocksteady Crew Anniversary. You know, it's changed over time, you know. But in the beginning, it was a lot of Rocksteady Crew.
Who from Chicago influenced you?
Chicago, man, a lot of Champions Crew inspired me. Phase 2, you know, even some of the Brickheads, you know, they've inspired me. Chicago's taught me a lot about tricks and power moves. You know, like I came into here with a lot of footwork, top rock, you know, that was a style that I started off with. But in Chicago, everybody's got power combos. You know, everybody's got crazy power tricks. You know, so it's just like you had to adapt, you know, and add that to your arsenal, or else you just became irrelevant. You know, you wouldn't stand a chance.
Sure.
You know, so but even now, like, you know, a lot of guys from Phase 2 inspire me, my own crew and stuff. You know, Wicked is a major inspiration. Brave Monks is an inspiration. You know, some of the younger guys, they're inspiration. You know, I try to show them concepts and ways to train, and they show me just different movements, you know, like stuff that I never would have thought of before, because it's just the evolution that's come now.
They show you disrespect by continuously challenging you is what they do. I'm just kidding.
I hope they do. I tell you the truth, I really like it when they do, you know.
I think that would be respect because they still want to go after you.
Yeah.
It's like a sensei, you know, like testing the student, you know, take the stick from my hand. Then we'll see if you made it to a certain level.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. So now what do you mentioned that are you still cooking and stuff?
Nah, I don't do that anymore. You know, it's just I couldn't dance. Cooking, you know, I had my first child at a young age, you know, so it's just like, what do? You know, you got to find some income coming in.
Right.
And I started cooking, but you know, if you ever worked in the kitchen, you know that you don't have a life except that kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, so after a while, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I switched careers, you know, and then from 2005 to about 2010, even some of like up to 2013, you know, I was an independent artist, you know, booking my own gigs, doing shows. You know, I was the guy in our crew. I'm still kind of the guy in the crew now that negotiates the contracts. You know, like locks down our rates, does our promos. You know, I'm the first person to speak to every time it comes to any type of business as far as break-in stuff like that. You know, I learned to do all that, and that led me into actually going to college for business.
Oh, nice.
So now that's what I do. What I do is sales now.
Okay. Nice. What do you think? You know, we've asked other people because now you see how and let me ask you. So that's pretty dope because you were able to take the skills you learned in hip hop and translate them into a real life job. And we've also talked about how you have someone like Prime, who is considered to be one of the top battle rappers of his era, and now he's translated that battle rap into running for alderman into politics.
That's what's up, man. I mean, like, it's really good to see people do that. Take those skills that they learned in hip hop and elevate themselves into something else, you know. So, you know, shout out to Prime, you know, Fahim from Chirac. I think he's running for alderman too, or something like that.
Yeah, Fahim Shabazz. Rhyme Fest ran for alderman. He didn't win, but he ran.
Yep. You know, this is like it's crazy because it's like you never would have thought that would happen, you know, back in the day. And here we are. We're seeing our own homies like trying to break these new barriers, you know. And
one of them's going to get through, and they're going to make a dent in the community, and start to show the positivity that hip hop, and bring the positivity of hip hop into politics, and maybe spread a little love into the city that we're so used to.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta give a lot of shout out to Chicago, man. We've really, in the last few years, have really been in the forefront of breaking barriers, you know, getting into politics, getting into academics, you know, like shout out to Brave Monk and Kelsa. They're teaching at Columbia College now, you know, and they just hired one of the OG poppers, you know, T-Bugs. He's teaching popping at Columbia College, you know, and you know, like even stuff like this, you know, we're doing radio shows now, you know, and stuff like this would never would have thought that we would do.
Right.
Yeah. And, you know, being able to, we're very honored to be able to try to preserve the historical part of this culture. And work with a lot of people in academics, like, you know, Cool Out Chris and Amina, and
that's another one too, Amina.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy, like, to think like Columbia College now has a hip hop course and
hip hop minors program.
Yep, it's amazing. It's great, and it's about time. I mean, the music is part of it, but this is a culture, and this culture has helped a lot of kids in a city like Chicago.
Yeah. I mean, I really appreciate the people that are actually being proactive with all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? You always see this kind of same scenario where like people wait for other people to do things for them as far as the movement. But now it's like we reach the age where like we're that generation now that we have to create a platform for the next generation. So we pass that torch on.
And you know, our generation, you hit it right on the head. I think a lot of the people that I knew growing up in hip hop from our generation and the one right before us, we were really, really go-getters in a sense. And I'm not saying the people that before weren't. They were blazing trails for us. But like our generation was the generation who was out, and it was kind of like the CDR generation, right? Where we were like, fuck it, we're gonna do our own labels, we're gonna press everything ourselves.
Yeah.
We're gonna distribute everything ourselves. And you had crews like Nacrobats hustling and Euphonics throwing their own parties, and everybody was kind of doing their own thing, and they were all becoming little businessmen. So I think we have a lot of ambitious. It doesn't matter if they made it or not. The ambition was really there.
Yeah.
And it's translated to us as adults.
That's what I love about Chicago, man. There's so much energy that emits from this city.
It's a hustle city, man. We're a fucking city of blue collar fucking hardworking people.
It definitely is, man. And not only that, it's just there's so much culture here. You know, not just hip hop culture. There's all types of other cultures here. They're booming, doing their own things. You know, Chicago's probably one of the greatest cities to me. You know, just because this is the only city I know that you can go to a hip hop, house, reggae, salsa, any time of the week. You could check any one of those out any time of the week, you know. And I actually have people that come visit here from other cities like New York or LA or Florida or something like that, Miami, and they're just like, man, we don't really have clubs that open up till 5 in the morning, man. You guys really go at it and stuff like that, you know. And I was just, they're blown away. They're blown away how many spots are open that late.
Yeah, no, we're a party city too, man. We like to have a good time and drink, and you know, I worked in the bar industry for over 20 years now, so and a lot of that was hip hop, and yeah, I'm blessed and lucky, and we get to spread love, and we get to spread love from, you know, 8 o'clock till 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning.
Absolutely, the old warehouse parties, man.
Oh God, yeah, and the raves you're talking about, man, with like one room being like drum and bass or jungle, fucking hip hop in another room, house, deep house, you know.
Yeah, it's so crazy, man. I've met so many people being a performer. It's so crazy. Like there's always a love between artists here, just appreciation of each other, you know. And I used to throw these crazy birthday parties where I would just invite everybody I performed with, and we would just all perform in one place, you know. So it was just like DJs to musicians to capoeiristas to salsa dancers to all in one room. We would just all be going off and stuff like that, and it was just such a good time, man. Such a good time.
That's dope.
Uh-oh.
Oh, shit.
Kid Jungle, who wants to go?
I can go first.
Sean, go for it.
Kid Jungle, this or that. Old school or new school?
Old school.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because that's when stuff was still new. It was pure. The essence is still there.
So essentially, if you're saying old school, at one point old school was new school.
Yep.
And okay. Good job.
I have one. Brickyard Mall or Cherryvale Mall?
Brickyard, man. The Brickyard.
Of course, son.
All right. Breaking 1 or Breaking 2 Electric
Boogaloo? Both those movies, man. But Breaking 1 for sure. Breaking 1.
Okay.
Breaking 2, I don't know what they were thinking. That was a big acid trip.
I mean, Electric Boogaloo, right?
Yeah, it was.
What was the name? What was the name of the community center they were trying to save? Miracles.
Miracles, which is based off of damn, I can't remember the name, but it was an actual based off
real place in LA. Yeah.
Real place in LA. Yes.
I was just on the phone with Shabadoo last week.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, we should be. He'll be in Midway. We're gonna try to book him for this show too pretty soon.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
Yeah, and because a lot of people don't know, but Shabadoo, and as you'll find out in Midway, grew up in Chicago.
He's from Chicago. Yep. Soul Train's from Chicago. Shabadoo's from Chicago.
Well, Shabadoo was on the first season of Soul Train.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. You know.
Yeah.
He's still out there dancing, doing his thing too.
Oh, dude, yeah, he is. If you're not following him on Instagram, you should.
Speaking of Instagram and social media and such, Kid Jungle, if people are looking for you online, where can they find you?
I mean, I prefer Instagram. Just, you know, the B-Boy Kid Jungle. You can check me out there. You know, I haven't been on Facebook too much lately, you know, just because I've been trying to focus on my personal life. You know, just man, like after doing the radio show for 5 years, man, that stuff just really eats you up. You know, promo.
Yeah, we didn't even get to talk about that too as much. We will though.
We will when we interview. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like that, and like I said, just the promoting is a monster on social media.
Yeah.
For a weekly radio show, it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just kind of taking like a little breather from it just to catch up on all that stuff, man. And you never realize how much energy you put into that stuff until you're not doing it anymore.
Oh yeah.
But you know, just a couple of things put out there. You know, I'm still teaching kids. You can catch me at Latin Street Latin Street Dance Studio. It's in the South Loop. You know, LatinStreetDance.com. You can check them out. I'm promoting for it as well on my Instagram, so you can check them out. It's every Saturday. You know, like I'm actually one of the first teachers that specialize in teaching toddlers, not just kids.
Oh my God!
Whoa!
And I'm
dope,
great. I'm great with them. I love teaching the toddlers because
awesome.
they don't care. They just want to have fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm obviously not going to teach them to like spin in their head or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like using breaking movements and to be able to put them in a classroom and for them to just really soak it up and love it. You know, like I have these kids that just run up to me all the time and just like grab my hand and, you know, like they're tugging on my leg and stuff like that because they just love the class so much.
That's dope.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're giving them an outlet. That's great. You're teaching them something and a skill that they love. That's amazing.
Absolutely. Just, you know, I just like, you know, shout out to all the crews out there, Phase 2, Raw Addicts, another crew, Shy Rock, you know, the family, you know, Renegades of Funk, you know, and I mean, that's pretty much it. There's a lot of other crews there. My Power Style Radio fam, you know, so, you know, much love to everybody there.
Nice.
Absolutely.
How about you, Mr. DJ Shondell?
You can find me on those internets at DJ SEANDOE on Twitter and Instagram, and on Facebook under my name, Rasan Shondo Hawkins. Couple of cool events that I got going on this month. Every last Sunday of the month, I host along with Shantala a vinyl, huh?
That's the homie right there.
Yeah, Shantala, yeah. So I host this Bring Your Own Vinyl event at the Stony Island Arts Bank. So every last Sunday of the month, people get together, bring vinyl, and we play on a rotation of not DJs, but just people who want to play vinyl. So if you don't DJ and you just have some records at home and you want to play them out, it's a cool event on the South Side. You know, they say there's not much going on the South Side, but there is.
There's a lot.
One really cool event.
Stony Island Arts Bank is gorgeous too.
At an awesome place. Like the Stony Island Arts Bank is amazing. So we're just happy to do that every last Sunday of the month. And also, I just got a flyer from I seen a flyer from Howard just posted it up. It's
Howie and Duro put it up.
Yeah. So Sunday Soul Brunch. Oh yeah. So, Sunday Soul Brunch pop up. It's on the 17th and it's from 12 to 8. And there's a soulful brunch menu by Chef Kareem Roberts. And Duro is spinning, myself, Sean Dervis, and Tone B. Nimble. So that's on the 17th.
So a couple guys we've heard of.
Yeah, a couple.
How about you, Mr. DJ Risky Business?
Well, you can find me on internet at DJ Risky Biz 1975, Instagram. The Facebook is Chad Sorensen, SORENSON. But it, much like Kid Jungle, I'm way more Instagram than anything else. And same thing with Twitter as DJ Risky with 1975. I just want people to, I mean, I'm always DJing out every weekend. You can find me at Sweet Lounge or some event. Who knows? We got MTV. Me and Sean Doe have MTV Generation coming up soon. It's another great party that me and Sean do together. But honestly, fuck us. Just fucking follow Midway. Make sure you're following Midway and like support
share
Chicago hip hop.
Yeah. Shout out to Midway, man. You guys are doing a great thing. You know, and it's a really solid platform that people are really working together towards, man. And I know it's a monster to really get funding and the editing and, you know, getting artists to do interviews, man. It's tough, man.
Yeah, brother.
We're getting there. We're close, man. We're close.
You guys ever had any crazy interviews? I know we're kind of short on time, but I wanted to ask.
Yeah, no. Nothing. We've been lucky. Like out of 200 and how many? What, 50 plus interviews now, Sean?
Yeah, 200.
So yeah, because we did Open Mike Eagle.
That was the last
interview, and that was 250 something. We have not had. We've had. I can count on my hand. Like one or two people that were kind of like, they just weren't big talkers, you know, so it was like a little hard pulling stuff out of them. Other than that, nothing. Well, the Quelo interview was crazy. That was fun. Quelo specifically because of their stories, and then Psychodrama was crazy. That was fun.
Yeah.
Crazy, not in a bad way, though, just like the stories that we heard. Specifically, stories that are connected to this one show they did in South America with Quelo and Crucial and Psychodrama. Speaking of coming up soon, I don't know the dates, but Class of 96 tour featuring Crucial Conflict, Do or Die, Shauna, Psychodrama was added to that. And I'm not exactly sure. I know more people are on it. I think possibly Triple Darkness too, but that's coming up soon, and that's going to be, I believe, Joe's in Rosemont, and then on a Friday, and then Saturday they'll be at the Rave in Milwaukee.
Okay,
that's
gonna be a crazy show, man.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's bananas. Yeah,
that's
something special. My guy, Paul Penicali is involved with putting that thing together. So.
Damn. Okay, that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Nah, it's just you know, the reason why I asked is we've had a couple crazy interviews on the.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, like what at the radio show?
In a bad interview.
In a bad. Well, now you got to say it.
You know,
we got to go in a minute, but I got to hear this now.
Well, I remember. So like we had a couple bitter OGs on the show, and these like 80s, 70s b-boys that were on the show that were really just bitter. And I don't know how we got on this conversation. This guy just somehow hopped on this subject about talking about this other DJ. And he was just like, you know what? Fuck that motherfucking faggot.
Wow.
Like that. And he just started going off. And this is, you're not supposed to cuss. You know, like we tell everybody, you got to be clean.
Right.
Yeah.
This guy went in like a 5-minute rant and just cussing everybody out that he was calling out and shit like that. And me and Brave Mountain were just blown away like, oh shit. Like, what do we do?
Wow.
And like we've been kind of waiting forever to get this guy on the show. We finally get him on the show. It's like a big honor. And then he's just bitter as fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, he came off bitter as fuck to everybody else, right?
Yeah, man. It really is. It's crazy because when you interview like New York OGs,
yeah,
you know, like they have a lot of them. Some of them have this like bitterness. Like,
was it a New York dude?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
So here's my thing with the.
Can you say who it was or no? You don't have to.
It's Mr. Freeze.
Oh.
So now I can't say what I was gonna say next. But what happens is, and I think this is the reason. Like, well, this is one of the main reasons why I'm definitely a part of the Midway scene. And this is, I keep it close to my heart, that a lot of us as you know, the older generation, we, you know, we were so into being so pure about, you know, hip hop and what it meant to us that I think we forgot to teach the kids. So now there's this super disconnect between us and them, and they're doing what they want to do with the culture because they didn't, I don't think they got the proper education from us. So, right. I mean, my main purpose for being a part of Midway is trying to bridge that gap. And I think a lot of people don't understand that they call themselves like super hip hop or about the culture, but what have you done to bridge that gap today? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, when you get children that come from like a broken home.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of kids, especially in that era, you know, early 90s, 80s, 70s, like most of them came from broken homes, you know, like come families, they used this as an outlet, and that was them holding it dear. So no one was ever even taught about passing the torch down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let alone trying to preserve the history. So this is like almost new, you know, so it's almost kind of like our generation is kind of bridging that gap for everybody else here.
Right.
Because if you think about it, technology has a lot to do with everything that we're talking about, right? Back when hip hop started, you had to be connected in a way. You had to be in the right spot. You had to kiss people's ass to get on. And so as everyone is busy trying to get on, technology made it available for these kids to start doing exactly what it is that they wanted to do. Meanwhile, the generation before them was still, they had to work, they had to hustle, they had to all this stuff. So you had grown-up responsibilities, but with the same dreams that this new generation has. But now the new generation has technology, time, money, all this stuff. And so now they're getting on. And so it'll be interesting to see how it washes out in the end. And yeah, I agree with Sean that the baton wasn't properly passed, but I think it was because the generation who had the baton was still trying to get to where they needed to be, where they felt like they needed to be.
Sure.
But that's just me. That's just me. I look at it from a technology end of things.
No, you're absolutely right though. I mean, it's, you know, now that generation, you know, nobody had cameras back then.
Right.
You know, barely anybody had any type of documentation. So they're almost struggling now to really get their piece of the pie in the history, you know, to put it out there. And you get these, sometimes you get these, we call them lying ears in the b-boy culture, in the b-boy scene, which is a lying pioneer, you know, that will twist history around to try to credit themselves for stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, man. We've done a lot. We have a pretty solid vetting process to make sure that doesn't happen with us. For the most part, I think everybody we've talked to has given pretty accurate stories because we do go back and reference and cross-check, and it's always kind of come up. We haven't really caught anybody in anything other than stuff that might be a little off based on, okay, you're remembering something from 30 years ago, so it's, you know, 25, 30 years ago, so it's might be skewed, and we're all going to have our own vision of what happened, but it's not a direct. We've been lucky with that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, it's all perspective at the end of the day.
But I think now people kind of like know that we are. I mean, I don't know that they know that. I'm just kind of hoping or thinking like maybe we're getting it because people know how diligent we are with making sure that it's accurate. So they know that we're like going back and calling. If they mention these people in a reference and this and that and this, and I'm on the phone being like, so how did this happen in this, and cross-reference this, and
we have 200. We have 250 some odd other people telling the story. So we kind of have.
We want to make sure it's accurate as possible.
250 some odd people, 2 hours, generally speaking, 2 hours apiece. we might be able to prove you right or wrong. So be careful what you tell us.
And everybody I think's gone into it pretty as honest as possible. I can tell when they're telling the truth, but it might be just remembered a little bit, where it's just more memory recall stuff. You can definitely tell where it, you know, it's obvious. Well, I want to thank you for showing up and coming. Oh,
true, but we're not done yet. That's Carlos. CoconutJustice.com, Coconut Justice everywhere else. And I'm not done with this one yet. I was having too much fun, so I wasn't able to too much. So.
Shit!
But yeah, that's we're gonna get that one done. That one's gonna be done. I'm excited about this one.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna.
It's like I'm scratching my ass a little bit, but you know.
Hey, don't tell me. That's your move. I'm looking at a picture. He's like, I scratch my ass. I'm like, yeah, it does.
Maybe he was.
That's dope, Carlos.
That's what's up, man. That's
I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna make this one right, and then I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, CoconutJustice.com, Coconut Justice everywhere else, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If you follow me on Facebook, I'd be talking mad shit, so apologize for that one already. So yeah, Midway Doc across the board, midwaydoc.com, Midway Doc everywhere else. We'll be here every week, every Monday.
Next week is RTC from Ruby Hornet.
RTC. Oh, and hang on. Give me 2 more, like maybe 30 seconds so I can get my inner Ryan on. If we said that we're going to be reaching out to you to schedule an interview, we will be doing that. We have not concluded interviews, so do not freak out. If you need to be on this documentary, do not hesitate to reach out. Midwaydoc.com. We have mail things there, and we're all over Facebook too. So listen, do not listen to anyone else when it comes to interviewing. We are not done interviewing. We're not done interviewing. With that being said, peace.
Right.